Again, you're wrong, Peter, because it's morning. Everything relative, right? NFL football, that's what's up today. It's the playoffs. It's an oddly named sport. Yeah. They should have called it tackle ball or something like that. But, the States, they're still in the imperial system too, so they're a little backwards. Well, we used to cheer for the Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs, who are they're kind of becoming a dynasty because their quarterback is so amazingly good. He does magical things, but then when you start learning about their personalities, it's like I don't want this guy to win because he flopped, right? Like there was a play the last game where he pretended to fall down. It's like, well, fuck you guys. If that's the way you are, I don't think I want to cheer for you anymore. Pretending to be hurt and fall down to get a call. Anyway, we like Chris Jones. It's more to just really appreciate the artistry and the extreme physical prowess these guys have. It's we're not really cheering for a team. We just kind of like watching their incredible athletes. Yeah, that's pretty hardcore stuff too. Yeah. page is starting seeds. Onions? Did you start yesterday? Peter, you should see what we're growing here. I think you could make some pretty good meals with the stuff we're growing here. What? I'm assigning work to people that don't even live here yet. Yeah, just wait till you get here. Yeah. Remember you used to live in Canada when you were a kid. Well, when the AMOC shuts down, that area of the world where you live in is going to be frozen solid. Well, that's because Canada won all the time, didn't we? We were right up there anyway. But Europe likes its hockey, as far as I know. Yes, we did. We won all of them. I just I just emailed Federico suggesting, because it came to me, suggesting that maybe he's the third one to fill out for the first non-conceptuality retreat. Wouldn't that be something? Peter, Ryan, and Federico. Yeah. Get Federico tripping on salvia. What? Waivers. We'll take them in the back where there's nothing but pasture and they can't get hurt. Yeah. Well, I remember in our discussion, he was laughing at one point because he said, you think I don't get this or something? I was like, no, you do get the little bit of this theory that I'm showing you. It's not that I don't think you get it. I don't think that you get all of it. You've just scratched the surface. So I'm saying, I was telling him, you don't understand the whole thing. And you kind of need to understand the whole thing to grasp the immensity of it. No, he doesn't quite get it, but I turned him on to our discussion. That was a great discussion, by the way, you guys. That was, yeah, Paige says it was good too. So that was a great start to telling people, hey, you're just not getting it, right? It's like, trust us, it might take a while, but once you get it, that's it. You've found it. Yeah, you were a bit foggy. You were a little dopey, but that's okay. I'm not too good Friday night at 9:00 either. You're always a little foggy. Oh, it's great because you have, with you and Ryan, it's a great balance of academia and scientific based perspective, and you from basically strictly spiritual based. It's a good balance. That helps. And having you two in there is good because I'm a little less diplomatic than maybe I could be. And you guys are perhaps more diplomatic. Hello. We were just talking about you. Not for very long, but a little bit. So I told Peter before you got here that it came to me, and I emailed Federico putting this in his head that maybe he's the third. He's the third person to round out the attendees for the first non-conceptuality retreat. Wouldn't that be cool? You and Peter and me and Federico. Change could come out of a meeting like that, boy. Yes, you can impress him with your Italian. How smart you are. I live in a country that's supposed to be bilingual, and I only know English. I don't know any French. I don't know any other language other than English, and barely that at times. My hope is that the last video that we made gets people to just actually delve into it deeper. It's like, oh, maybe I did miss something, right? Maybe I actually am not seeing something that's there that these dudes are seeing and so adamant and passionate about. Oh, shit. Well, it's a big house. My friend Derek is also allergic to cats, but he didn't seem to have a problem here. It's a really big house, if that helps. Yeah, okay. We'll stick you in the basement anyway. The cats hardly ever go down there. Yeah, yeah, that's right. I have a salvia plantation, Peter. Yeah. I think I have 2 ounces, which is basically a lifetime supply for a dozen people. Like you just take like that much at a time, but it's natural dry leaf. So that's how Lady Salvia is meant to be taken, is just natural dry leaf. You don't mess with it. These trips that are on the internet where people are freaking out and having a really bad time, that's 20x, 40x, up to 80 times the potency of just dry leaf. So it's like, what are you doing? uh, I believe that it tweaks the nervous system in such a way as you can have a direct experience of the wave function. My understanding of what the wave function is and how salvia seems to remove space. I think it removes space, a dimension of space. Now, as crazy as this sounds, it seems like it shifts a dimension of space into a dimension of time. So, in a way, a way to describe a salvia trip is perhaps there's 2 dimensions of space and 2 dimensions of time. And that's why there's a strong frequency. It seems like there's a pulsing, a frequency, and also so many reports of like being rolled up onto a scroll or something, right? So it takes the 3 dimensional realm and turns it 2 dimensional, and then it takes the 1 dimensional realm of time and turns it multidimensional. This is complete ego annihilation. And if someone wants to step it up a notch, this is the notch. This is it should be it's as valuable, I believe, in spiritual seeking as ayahuasca is for certain individuals. Yeah, I'm just throwing stuff out, right? Like I don't it's definitely messes with time. It messes with the linear expression of time and turns it more from a line into a plane. It's a plane of time, not a line of time. So you can move, right? On a plane, you can move more than just forward and backward. Like, yeah, it could be 3 dimensions of time and 1 dimension of space. Yeah. If there's some sort of formula you want to work out on this. But yeah, I think if you're stable and you don't have mental problems, salvia is not going to be a problem. You'll trip out hard for 20 minutes, maybe only 5 minutes, and then the whole thing will last 30 minutes. And then you've got a year to try to digest what the fuck just happened. Yeah. But now I don't think now is the time to be cautious. Now is the time to just go for it. We can't just play it cautious. This is the end. It's time to step this up a notch. Wow, that's awesome. So one of our Friday night talks, maybe you can present your theory whenever you feel comfortable doing so. Yeah, because it's so, to me, I haven't gotten much into the CTMU, but to me, that it seems like if Chris can get past his belief that in the end there's still this separation between self and God, if he can overcome that belief, then it'll all click, right? It'll just go click, I believe, because he needs he needs to recognize that triune system is what it is. That's it. You can't do it. And I think he's trying to do it the same way as everyone else, right? Using the conventional language without adapting it. So he's doomed to fail, just like all the other Kobayashi Maru participants. They're all doomed to fail. Yeah. It's exciting. Like, it just seems like it's on the cusp, right? It's just like one of these guys, like just someone fucking like Chris, if he was to just, oh yeah, this is it, then click. There's 100,000 CTMU-ists being presented, introduced to non-conceptuality. I don't know if Langan ever talks about meditation. Does he meditate? Does he talk about meditation? I would doubt it. Mm, wow. Say no more then. Well, why don't you contact them then? It almost it seems like it's more legit if a third party is contacting someone saying, hey, this guy has a theory rather than I have a theory, right? When I approach people saying that I have this greatest theory in the history of humanity, it doesn't sound as convincing as someone like you perhaps saying, hey, I know both of your stuff. His thing actually is the thing, is the one. And maybe you can see it. I don't know. I think it's more effective when a third party says, hey, this guy gets it, rather than, hey, I get it. Get it? Hmm. Hmm. it's the catch-22 of, and that's why I hold these satsangs, even though so until a person has felt the bliss, the Satchidananda, that is what we are expressing here, it won't catch on, right? Like, until you find that which cannot be false, until you find your true self, the reality, the stillness that is Satchidananda, the theory won't fully be grokked. So again, does the theory lead to the practice, or the practice confirm the theory, right? My theory leads to the practice, and then the practice confirms the theory. That's this scientific process. But it's all self-contained, right? So the theory may come from the outside, from another source, but it's not a system that needs to be taught. It's the deprogramming of the system which needs to be shown. Yeah, he's the smartest man in the world, basically. That's his title, world's smartest man. But the world's smartest man still has beliefs, and that one belief that is Christianity, that eventually God is separate, then it just doesn't make sense. If there's a singularity and you exist, that must be you. Like, if you just one statement, if there is a singularity and you exist, then it must be you. To me, that just, how do these statements not make sense to people? So intelligence is to be able to pick out patterns, right? But they're only the patterns that you are willing to pick out. Like, it's again the stereogram. If you're only taught to see in a certain way, you'll never see the image that's hidden within the stereogram, which is the whole purpose of the entire image, right? The image is a stereogram. So whatever other patterns you pick out that isn't the image designed in the stereogram, well, that's math, right? So mathematics is picking out, which requires high intelligence. The higher the intelligence, you can pick out more patterns in the image, but they're all wrong, right? They're all incorrect, no matter how, and everyone can agree upon, yeah, oh yeah, I see that pattern now. It's there too. I see it too. So that's math. So everyone that can't see the image, the stereogram in the picture, they're mathematicians. So they're talking about every other possible pattern developed while looking at this message, except the right one. And that's why it goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, because you're never interpreting the actual message contained within the information. That's all of mathematics, right fucking there. Yeah. So now, if you are able, a mathematician, to stop that belief and refocus on what my message is saying, the number system, the actual message of it, if you can suspend your beliefs that math is right, then you can see it too. It will come to you to see the message. And again, that's Gödel's incompleteness theorem, right? My theory proves that math is will never halt, right? It's the halting problem is solved with the introduction of my theory about math, because it's incorrect interpretation. So you're just going down the incorrect path forever and ever and ever. Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Okay, yeah, no worries. So that concludes the search, right? Like if the entire message of the number system, when that's revealed, then you see the stereogram, and then it's done. You're done. You've figured it out. Like, it's so crazy ironic that it's this simple, and I've been throwing it in Kurt's face and Kuhn's face, Robert Kuhn, for months now, months and months, years for Kurt, years, and just nothing. Just, oh Jesus, like, it's right there, right fucking there, man. Like, just adjust your focus and you will see it. Exactly what you're looking for is looking you right in the fucking face. Kurt, I don't watch Kurt anymore, or Kuhn. I can't stand it. I start screaming at the screen, or wanting to throw the computer, because it's so frustrating, right? It's like, you guys are just spinning on your fucking wheels again. Just hamsters on your wheel. It's frustrating, right? It's just let me on. Kurt, you and I can talk for 2 hours and all of this will be settled. Iceberg of consciousness. Oh boy. Bernardo's theory. Well, what is Bernardo's theory? What predictions does it make? What resolutions does it solve? Like, what questions does it solve? What is the theory? I don't understand. Could someone please explain to me what Bernardo's theory is? Everything's mind instead of physical. Okay. Now what? What does it solve? How does your theory lead to less suffering and more happiness? How does it show what if mathematics is discovered and invented? How does it resolve? How does something come from nothing? And why is there something rather than nothing? If a theory does not resolve these questions or even address them, what is it? What is it? What are you doing? What good is it? Yeah, that last video is one of the best, for sure. Yeah, but it doesn't, does it? It doesn't resolve anything. It's like, okay, everything's mind now. But what do I do? How does that solve? Why are we here? What are we supposed to be doing? And how do we do that? Okay, just take it from the perspective of idealism and now answer all these questions. How does idealism resolve? Is mathematics discovered and invented? How does it resolve? Why does something come from nothing? And how does it resolve nothing? It doesn't. It doesn't resolve anything. Same with Philip Goff. Philip Goff, just like Bernardo, just talks, gives a bunch of opinions, but there's no theory there. There's no changing of anything. There's no adaptation. It's just the same fucking blah blah blah. Ugh. You're not resolving anything, guys. You're just hamsters on a wheel. I would destroy them. They wouldn't allow it though. They wouldn't even recognize it. It would be like the Black Knight in Monty Python Search for the Holy Grail. I'd cut off all of their limbs and I'd ride off, and they would think that they were still fighting. They wouldn't even recognize that they just got their asses handed to them. The emperor riding on the elephant in the room is naked. A dual aspect monism. Is that what my system is? A dual aspect monism? It could be, hey? Yeah. So the monism is the reality, and the duality is the illusion that comes about from the bias of attention. Word is a bias. Right. And science has done the opposite way. They try to start with the two things to get to the one thing. Space-time. Space and time. They try to make a grid out of this. So they're trying to put together two illusions to come up with the reality. And it's the same with Kurt's theory of everything, like the physical theory of everything. They're trying to unify two illusions to come up with the reality. Right? They start with two. Physics starts with two because it's measurement. And then they try to derive singularity from the perspective of the illusions. They try to put the illusions together, but the illusions disappear when you put them together, right? The positive and the negative, when you put them together, they disappear. This is it. This is it. And now we have a community that can reinforce each other and say, yes, this is actually it. Like, we should be like levitating because this is it, guys. Yeah, find the source, but the source is singularity, right? It's not nothing. It's very simple. We just can't, we have to acknowledge that words will never, words are not the reality. The meaning of the words are not the reality. So until you start with zero circle representing singularity instead of nothing, instead of a void or a lack of existence, that's the whole thing. That's the Kobayashi Maru condition, is one word, nothing. And the concept that goes along with nothing. That's the Kobayashi Maru. Yeah, any remainder. Yeah. And I think they're always working with remainders, right? Because yeah, it's basically it's trying to bootstrap a Ponzi. It's a Ponzi that's trying to bootstrap itself using just body mind, just the illusions, to try to bootstrap the functioning of reality. But it has to be this triune system. which is simply and elegantly expressed. Like, why don't people want this understanding, right? Like, what we see, what we understand, is basically the eyes of the fucking oracle, right? Like, to understand this is to understand everything. Like, I don't understand why they don't want this. Why don't you want this vision? I'm showing you, I'm giving you the eyes of the oracle. It's too much, though. They don't want to see it. They'll go crazy like Smith did or something. Not a well-known authority. Yeah. But in a way, it had to be this way. You wouldn't expect someone that's coming through academia, through the system, to be able to break out of the system. I never got into academia beyond high school. I was always just self-taught. So it only makes sense that this revelation about science and academia would come from an outside source. It only makes sense. "22" just keeps coming back into my world all the time. Why am I seeing the number 22 all the fucking time? What? I don't know. I just keep seeing 20, the number 22 just keeps popping out at me. Like when you guys were first introduced, even that was 22. Mm. Yeah. Get the fuck out. Yeah. Somehow that applies. That's hilarious. And why is there an anomaly within mathematics where 2 times 2, only 2, right? This only works for the number 2, where 2 times 2 and 2 plus 2 is the same. There's something there's something about, but they're placeholders, okay? So there's something about 2 and going beyond 2, right? So if the initial input number for the C in the Mandelbrot set equation, if it's bigger than 2, then it escapes, it becomes the colors. And if it's less than 2, I believe this is right, then it doesn't escape and it goes into the black. So 2 is a very important number. If you go beyond 2, then you go into samsara, I believe. And then 9 also is another huge number, right? When they do that, you add all the integers in a number and they all come out to 9. Like 20, 25 is one of these things, right? So 2 plus 0 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9. So two, I think if you go beyond 2, you're out into samsara. And then when you get to 9, that's the conclusion of samsara, or that iteration. Uh, so suffering at its fundamental level is not being able to recognize the unsubstantialness nature of all experience. So the suffering isn't the bad parts or the negative parts of, like, pain. That's not the suffering. The suffering is not recognizing that the entire system is inherently unsubstantial, right? So if you take the playing of a video game to be substantial and reality, and you're not aware that it's a video game, that's the suffering, right? So it's that deep. It's the ignorance of not knowing what's real and substantial. So if you're playing a video game or game and you forget that you're just doing it for entertainment purposes, then that's suffering. So trying to fill the emptiness with more emptiness is suffering, is a result of this ignorance. And that brings about all forms of addiction, right? Just trying to fill the emptiness and overconsumption. That's what the entire species is doing. We've recognized that all experience, intuitively, we understand that all experience in this realm is fundamentally unsubstantial. But we keep trying to make it substantial by having more of it. So karma can be described in one word: more. And you want more because you think that more of emptiness is going to create fullness, but it doesn't. It just creates samsara. Yeah, I'm not trying to reach those people, am I? I understand that there are people that are ready for this, and most people are not. I'm not trying to convince people that are too far gone. I'm starting to recognize after decades of doing this where who is ready for this and who it's a waste of time trying to get, like, except I keep bashing my head against the brick wall that is Kurt Jamungal for some reason. I'm trying to reach these people who are talking like they're interested in this stuff. Like they're talking like they're serious about finding out the true nature of reality. I'm not trying to reach religious zealots, right? But it's almost as futile. It appears to be as futile talking to a freaking PhD level academic as it does to a fucking religious nutcase. It's just as difficult to get through. Yeah, like Paige was just relaying to our neighbor the other day that I was having a conversation with this guy who basically invented fucking computers. And he doesn't, they don't know, right? Like, it's not something I go around saying, hey, yeah. Because it's so internal, right? It's an internal experience. But why are you taking on other people's suffering? There's only one consciousness in your world, and that's you. So when there's when there's peace in your world, there's only peace in your world, because you are the only consciousness in your world. When there's peace in your world, there is only peace in your world. When you are at peace, there is only peace in your world. That makes more sense. When you are at peace, there is only peace in your world. I mean, I guess Roy Dobson could be considered a bodhisattva, I think, because to me, a bodhisattva isn't enlightened. Like they're holding off intentionally, because to me, a bodhisattva isn't a fully enlightened being, because they're still hanging around trying to fix things. So I don't think that there's a bodhisattva, an enlightened being like Ramana Maharshi didn't think, oh, I'm going to withhold leaving this place because I want to hang out and try to help people. I don't know. It just seemed like that's what he was doing. And that's how you could explain it from another person's perspective, that he did all this for us. But he had no inkling of what was going on. He was just being. It's hard to describe what's going on there. But there is something about sharing truth, having the truth, expressing the truth seems to be a natural progression in this evolutionary game. It just seems like once someone comes across the truth, there seems to be some sort of compelling to share that truth. Just for the sake of it being true. I I don't know. When something is revealed to you like that's this big and this important, of course I'm not going to just hold on to it and giggle within myself. Oh, I understand everything. Right? It's like I understand everything and I want you to understand everything too. Well, yes. So here's the thing is that you can't get sucked in. There's no way, like Ramana said, the best way to help is to realize your own enlightenment. That's it. And then just sit there like he did. So that's what I'm trying to do, right? This is me in my not even close to being close to the enlightenment that Ramana was expressing. My attempt to express that stillness and get that message out, the message of Mona. Yes, it is very expected. So when you look back on it, it's like, oh well, yes, it makes sense because we're in Kali Yuga, right? This has all been gone through before, and people have gone through this before, and it's like, yeah, Kali Yuga. People just, it's the lowest level of spiritual. The irony of it is that at the same time, it's absolutely the most auspicious time to be a spiritual seeker because it's all being revealed. It's all being revealed right now. So at the same time, and this goes along with Taoism, I think, perfectly, is that at the same time that the vast majority of human consciousness is delving deeper into delusion, just going deeper and deeper, full fucking force into delusion. There's the other side of that too, where there's that much revelation occurring as well. And this is it. This is it. This is the great revelation that is occurring underneath, brewing, underneath all the delusion. This is the other side of that trade. I'm a bit of a trader and I like good charts and stuff. So there's always a other side of the trade. And we're the other side of that trade. We are the understanding that's occurring in proportion to the delusion that's occurring. Yeah, that's what it's going to be, is that the suffering will no longer, like, let's say that like the internet goes out for a few days. People will just be fucking losing their minds, right? So when the system collapses, and it will, maybe slowly at first and then all at once, the amount of suffering will begin a new spiritual renaissance. That's what I believe. And I believe this is it. This is the new theory. This is the new mode of investigation. Yeah. The Ouroboros is eating itself so quickly it's going to turn itself inside out. Or like the Cheshire cat, it'll just blink out of existence. It'll eat itself out of existence and there'll just be a smile or an asshole left. maybe there'll be an asshole left or a tail instead of a smile. And this modus of investigation has your own innate ability to reason as its base. So yeah, the theory puts forth statements and axioms, but they're based on your own innate ability to distinguish whether they're true or not. That's what it is. It's not on someone's authority. It's not on the teacher's authority at the blackboard. It's you. It's you analyzing the statements in the theory and determining whether they fucking make sense or not. If you can't make sense of a theory, which is Bernardo's theory, and even Federico's, like just about every single video that I watch of Federico's when he's discussing this in a group, they all just, you can tell that at the end, they're taking his word for it. In certain spots, they're just taking his word for it, like any other thing that's taught. But my theory has no loose ends. All the loose ends are tied together, and it just is complete. Like, so when you understand something completely, then it's yours then. That is a complete understanding. That is a truth that it's fully understood. There's no hearsay. There's no just taking someone's word for it. You get it. You get every single fucking word in that theory, and then it's yours. You get it. FYI, I'm shutting her down in half an hour. Yeah. Yeah, this is what I've been pulling my hair out for over a decade now, is like, I can't be crazy, but how the fuck can you not see this? Like, one of us is crazy here. Right? It's like, I'm in that discussion, Peter. I watched it again, of course, but you said it wouldn't matter to me if every single human on the planet told me that I was wrong. And that was exactly my state until you guys came along, right? That was it. It was me, literally me, and no one else. So that was my state until you guys showed up. So you can imagine how grateful I am for you guys to come along and just like affirm that. I didn't need anyone to affirm it, but it's great. It's finally getting through somehow. So it's me against the world. There's some weird, twisted David and Goliath shit that I love. That me against the world. Somehow I love that. Yeah, 10 years, 11 years. Both the number system and the fundamental model of the triune fundamental model of reality, they've both been unfolding and coming together simultaneously for 11 fucking years now. And it's been the last couple of years where I finally realized, oh, this is a message. This message has been unfolding within my consciousness for a decade now, and now it's finally ready. But something that this big makes sense that it would need to gestate that long. It makes sense somehow that it just needs to sit and grow roots and gestate before. But luckily I held on to it. If I would have let that go, it might have been gone forever. I don't know. It's all working out though. But it really is so simple. When you see it, it's just like, but it's so difficult to accept that academia is a cult. Like, we took the wrong path. Everything that we were taught in school is actually wrong. Like, that seems like a crazy person saying that. But look at humanity. Again, I've got reality and objectivity on my side. We're going crazy and we're killing all life on the planet. Now, whether those people who don't want to see that either, well, they're just going to not accept this because it's too painful. 73% of the natural organisms on this planet, the animals, 73% of the animals, the natural occurring animals on this planet are fucking dead. We've killed 73% of the deer and the antelope play. We're killing all life on the planet. How could you get more wrong? How could you possibly get more wrong than killing all life on a planet? Who's going to be objective enough to have the balls to stand up and say, yes, we're doing this? Why are we doing this? How do we change it? Because nothing we've done so far has changed fuck all. Yeah, it's caused by us. And it's almost like we've gone through this before, right? Hello, Revelation. Like, hello, the apocalypse, Armageddon, all that shit. It's in the Bible. Where do we get these notions of hell? In the cities, people will be eating each other. That's hell, isn't it? There you go, right? It just seems like these older civilizations, they've got this story that just keeps repeating itself. All the religions seem to have a creation story and a destruction story. So we've done this before. We're in a cycle, and these messages have been implanted within the cycle to try to break us out at the very end, where we're most lost. You don't put up a road sign where everything's straight and flat and everything's self-evident, right? You only need instruction when you're lost. And these signs are here to help us where we're the most lost. But because we're the most lost, the messages aren't getting through to the vast majority of consciousness. Ragnarok. That's one of those bad movies. Thanos was right. Thanos wasn't wrong. In a way, Thanos, I think, is the WEF, so the World Economic Forum. They understand the dire state that we're in because of climate change, and they also recognize that humanity isn't going to do it on their own, the individual. So even though what they're doing seems evil, I understand it. They actually are, in their own twisted way, trying to save us from ourselves, but they're trying to do it by controlling everyone. And that's not going to work. Controlled demolition. That's what we're doing, brother. That's all we can do is the best we can do. Yeah, we have to reintroduce the spirit, the mind, body, spirit. It's really basic. Hmm. Division. What a crazy idea division is. Hmm. Yeah, so in the thing nothing, there isn't even mind, right? So again, they're trying to do a Ponzi with only using even just one of the illusions. They're not even really trying to use both illusions. But the debate between materialists and idealists, that's the Ponzi itself. The debate between the tennis match between idealists and materialists, that itself is distraction. So you guys have to just recognize that you're both wrong. And no amount of Bernardo talking is going to make it right. You're just going to say the same things over and over and over, and there's nothing there. There's really nothing there. it's interesting that Bernardo can make a lot of really intelligent statements that I agree with, right? But when you put them all together, it's gobbledygook. There's nothing there. There's no order. It's just a bunch of statements that I agree with that in the end mean nothing. But it holds people's interest, right? Oh, look, I'm interested. I'm outwardly focused on something external again. And that's all that matters, because while I'm doing that, I know I exist. So while I'm listening to Bernardo and agreeing with him, I know I exist relative to that process. That's why they want to hear it again and again and again and again. Let's have Bernardo on for the 10th time so that I can temporarily engage in something relative to me so I know I exist. So you're going to need that again and again and again. And that's all systems of thought. Yeah. That's what I see, right? Is I see when these guys, even the top physicists in the world, when Roger Penrose is talking to someone, all I hear is, yes, you exist. Do I exist? And the other guy, who is a world-renowned physicist, will say, yes, you exist. Do I exist? And then Penrose will respond, yes, you exist. Do I exist? That's what they're doing. That's all they're fucking doing. Yeah, Bernardo and Leo should talk. Yeah, exactly. But they don't recognize, even when I break it down so succinctly, like, this is why you don't want conclusion. Exactly what I said. No, just get back to it. Because even those words that I'm saying, they don't get through, right? They don't stick. They're just used as another form of relative existence. Oh, I know that I exist while I listen to this guy. Leo Gura. But all these thoughts are just based on more thoughts, aren't they? So they don't get to direct experience. They don't refer to your direct experience ever. It's just a thought based on a thought. But then they try to verify those thoughts, building devices that the thoughts tell them to build in order to verify the thoughts. So Maya distracts you with these predictions that reality is this way. And then instead of just looking at your own experience and see if that is proven or disproven through your own experience, through this tool, they build a tool that the voice in the head told them to build in order to verify that the voice in the head had made correct predictions. So it's all Maya. Maya's just, you are Maya's bitch. Yeah, there's a big difference between everything being you and being alone. There's a big difference between singularity and being alone. Yeah, if there isn't even a concept of two, yeah, it's just concept free. It's just non-conceptual. It's just non-conceptual pure beingness. And then the mind will come in later and try to conceptualize that experience. And then you just drop that too. You just go, "Oh, you silly mind, we're just going to stay in experience." So then it seems like the choice, it's not really a choice. Like if there's vanilla ice cream and chocolate ice cream, and you just generally like, you choose the chocolate ice cream, that's kind of like when you get to this place, when you find the self, it's like, well, would I rather be interested or would I rather be happy? That's the choice. So thinking, doing math, figuring all this stuff, seeking, that's being interested. So you rather just be interested. Like, don't even try to fool yourself that you're trying to find conclusion. You just want to be interested. But if when you find the happiness that is your innate state, your natural state, might be preferable, might be preferable to just sit in actual happiness, like the actual state of happiness and perfect contentment, than being interested. Because to be being interested is not a state of completion and contentment. It's a state of motion. What? There's mango ice cream? Might be more like a sherbet. And it's tough when the source of one's addiction is always readily available. Why would I kick? heroin when I have infinite heroin available. Yeah,
Callie,
cats. Because because this is the game. Yeah, a game, which is entertainment, is just that. It really doesn't mean fuck all. All of this, it means it's a game. So everyone needs to just fucking chill out. Like, what are you doing? That's the game. It's like the Chinese finger trap. The more you try to pull out, the more it sucks you in. It's insatiable because yeah, it's Kool-Aid. Well, this ain't going away now. This non-conceptuality thing has deep roots now. They're only a few roots, but they're very deep, and there's no way that it's going to die now. So this is exciting. It's really, really cool to be intimately involved in this. Vanilla is my favorite. I mean, it's got to be the best because everyone likes vanilla. It's not bland, it's the best. And it goes with everything, right? You can put everything on vanilla ice cream. Or vanilla ice cream on anything. So I know it's really early, but it's good to get this in your guys' head. Peter and Ryan, is that the 30th of July is Paige's 50th birthday. So we are going to work around that. So the retreat has to happen before January 30th or after January 30th. July, sorry. Or it's a J month. July. So maybe the 29th and the 30th and the 1st or the 31st, whatever it is, has to be clear. So before or after, just to make things more complicated. But there's lots of time, so we can arrange around it. I don't No, because she wants to have family, right? So her family hasn't been here yet. So we will have other people here. That's she would it would be great to share it with you guys, but family, right? So yeah. But if you guys come after, you could help me pick berries too. Wouldn't that be fun? Spiritual practice of picking berries. Put you guys to work. Tell Frederico, yeah, sorry, if you're coming here, you've got to pick at least 2 gallons of berries every day. Otherwise, I'm not having it. Ay, ay, ay. We'll have bear spray. Look at this. Some guy just popping out of nowhere talking about airball. Yeah, I'll show people airball. This is a great place to set up an airball course. I was going to make it rich with this airball invention. And I tell you, if I would have done this in the 50s, I would have been rich. It would have been as big as mini golf or something like that. But because we're in the age of kids wanting to play on video games instead of outside enjoying a sport, it didn't happen, which is great because if it would have happened, maybe none of this would have happened. So, yeah, I invented a game called Airball. I even had a patent for a while on it. And that was my first introduction of trying to show people something new that's actually fun and have them not go, well, that's stupid. It's like, yeah, well, any fucking sport's stupid if you look at the way it's played. They're just hitting the ball with a stick and catching it. That's stupid. It's like, yeah, it's also baseball. so, so that was my first introduction about how people just don't want to accept something new. They can't see something new as being cool. It's just stupid. And again, get a load of this. Imagine that it's a sport where there's only one player, and you're throwing a ball to yourself. Of course, Roy would invent a game where you're throwing a ball to yourself. Makes sense. The younger guys will play. I don't imagine Peter will be playing airball, but we'll see. I'll still play, even at my age. And I also want to set up a frisbee golf. Frisbee golf would be great out here too. This lake is 800 feet deep in one spot and may not ever get very warm. So I've never swam in this lake, but it might be pretty freaking cold. Aaron just comes in, freaking drops a bomb and leaves, eh? All right, well, that's noon. So I'm going to go watch NFL football, and we'll see you next week. We'll talk to you, Peter and Ryan, on Friday, and then we'll do this again on Sunday. Balls.